we are rolling into a brand new month, which means we need to put the brakes on, roll back, pause it up a minute, and talk about the books that we read in January. I only got to 4 books in January, and I'm happy with it. I am happy with my 4 books. So let's get into it. Before we do, hi, I am Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. This is Bookmark by Jen. I've already told you my name, so we're going to roll into what I read in January. What are the stats of these books? 1 arc. I read the last book in 2 series, and I read a new to me author, and of course the buddy read. Okay, let's just get into it. So the first book that I read for 2026 was actually an arc, and it was Where Reckless Hearts Whisper by Victoria Holiday. I am on Victoria Holiday's arc and street team, and I was really looking forward to this book. It is the 4th and final book in the Dark Hearts series. This is a mafia series, and I think that Victoria has definitely found her niche in mafia romances. This follows Niccolo and Bambolina, or as we like to call her, Lena. I'm gonna say, I'm not like a big fan of Bambolina, like the name, so Lena it is. Lena is the youngest daughter of the Castellano girls and the most sheltered, seemingly. So the 3 previous books were about her sisters, and now they've all paired off. They have their HEAs, and she is the last to remain in her childhood home. Her father has just announced his elopement and marriage to her new stepmother, whom she really likes. But she also has a new stepbrother, and she can't stop thinking about him obsessively, and it's not in the stepbrother-stepsister way. She starts writing fantasies about Niccolo in her diary to help assuage the tension that she's feeling, the fire that is burning, the lust that is happening inside of her body. Niccolo is dark. He's brooding. He's a bit moody. He is a bit, there's like a little bit of a bully aspect, but not quite. He's just like an arrogant asshole. Well, we realize that he has some type of pull towards her, and so what better way to make sure that nothing that shouldn't be happening does happen than to just like be an asshole to her, and that'll push her away, but it just makes her burn even more. He catches glimpses of her watching him, and then he finds her diary one night because she carelessly left it out in the living room, and he picks it up and reads it and realizes Lena is not as naive as everybody thinks. She has some definite dark tendencies. She is not as she's definitely not as naive, and she goes into detail about these fantasies, which only makes Niccolo want her even more. And the problem is he's her stepbrother, and this is forbidden, but we want what we want, and sometimes rules be damned. They do find a way to be together until shit hits the fan, and then, you know, choices and sacrifices have to be made. I really enjoyed this book. I think it was a great ending to the story. I don't think that this world is over. We are going to get some more. I did find a few things, a few decisions that were made, a few conversations, like a little ridiculous. I mean, you know, everything's not going to be absolutely perfect. Almost like we needed a conflict, so let's throw something in there. And then there was one main issue that I had towards the end of the book. There was a decision made, and it really upset me. And I think it upset me more because I know the characters, like the characters from previous books, have made this decision, and it just didn't jive with like what we knew with these characters. And like I just didn't feel like those characters would allow this to happen, and it just really kind of took me out of the story. And I was like, no, that doesn't that does not compute. That did annoy me a little bit, but the overall story, being back in the world, seeing the characters that we love, I think the conflict that I had a problem with, if you go into this story and read this as a standalone, which you could, this would not be a problem to you, but I don't recommend doing that. I recommend getting the full scope of everything, because the other sisters and their stories and their men are just, they're all a little bit different, and I love it. I love that each relationship was different. It wasn't a formula to it. Definitely had some really good sex scenes. I think some of the steam was definitely a little bit different than the other ones as well. There are some of those scenes that stick out in each book for me, and I really enjoyed this one. So I ended up giving this one a 4 stars, and I gave it a 3.5 stars for spice, which brings me to my next book. And the next book was also a finale to a series, and that was Keep Me Never by Megan Brandy. This is the 4th book in the Boys of Avis series, and it's Chase's story. Chase did us wrong in Say You Swear, and I wanted to wring his neck. But I also felt like underneath it, he was a good guy. He just made some really shitty decisions, and then he made some more shitty decisions, and now it's his time to redeem himself. I needed that little bit of a redemption arc for Chase. I needed to know that he was still good deep down, and I needed to know that he could have an HEA because he is a part of this family that they've created, right? I was ready for it. This is between Chase and Paige. Paige, we've met. We met her in Say You Swear. She's been through all of the books. She is Noah's best friend. That's how she was introduced to the group. And I love this group so much. I love that she wasn't a part of the family, but they welcomed her in like she's been a part of the family for ages. And you know, Paige really needs that because Paige has recently lost her father. She doesn't have a mother, and her estranged grandfather from her mother's side has just entered her world and is throwing her for a loop because he is unlike anything that she has ever known. He is a billionaire, so that kind of puts a lot of things into play for Paige, and she is not quite for sure what is going on in her life and making a lot of decisions. And then we have Chase. So her and Chase are spending a lot of time together because Paige and him have some classes together, and they start to build a relationship and a friendship, and she starts to help him through things. And then, you know, crushes happen and feelings start. But poor Chase, he is, well, he is just, he is a mess. After the events of Say You Swear, he has been around, but he has been kind of taking a step back from the group and not inserting himself into the mix as he normally would. Even though he is in the mix, he kind of like sits on the edge of everything. He doesn't believe he is meant to be there or deserves to be there anymore. It's like he has lost a lot of the faith in himself. My perception of it was that he was seeing things that were not true. Like it wasn't reality, but in Chase's mind, these are the things that are happening. He doesn't see things for what they really are. Like I said, he starts distancing himself from the boys and from the girls. He rarely wants to put himself around Ari, and then when Noah comes into the picture, he kind of deflates a little bit. He becomes like a deflated balloon. He just, you know, can't grasp that it's over with and everybody is where they need to be, and it's okay. Like, mistakes were made. We're good. So he's just a lot harder on himself than he really needs to be, although he needed to be hard on himself at the beginning. I definitely was like, I would love to punch you in the face because the things that you did, no, sir. No, I could understand if you were not a part of this group, but growing up in this group and the things that you did, no, sir. You need to be reprimanded. You need to have your nose rubbed in the dirt, right? But time has passed. I mean, that was a long time ago. Like, we are about to graduate college. Years have passed. We need to become who we want to be. And so Paige helps him to do that. Become the man that he wants to be, become the man that he doesn't know he wants to be and could be, and he needs to get back to himself. And I loved that growth arc for him. Nothing is going to top Say You Swear for me, but it was such a great ending to the series, getting to see all of the favorite characters happy and moving on with the plans that they've all made, that they've shared their entire lives. I just thought it was like the perfect ending to a great series. I gave this book 4 stars, and I gave it a 2 stars for spice. That brings me to my next book, which was Wolf by Paisley Hope. This is the first book in an MC series. It's The Men of Bedlam. It's a new to me author. I was really looking forward to this. Also, I just love this freaking cover. Dove is already out. Yes, it came out at the end of January, which, if you know about this world or Paisley Hope or anything, let me know in the comments down below because I was really confused. So this follows Wolf and Brinley, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But then Dove follows 2 characters that I thought had already had their story. Like, they're already together. So I'm like, wow, that's really weird. Like, then we're going to go back, and then we're going to get, like, clips of Wolf pre-Brinley, and Brinley's not going to be a part of this. What is going on? So I don't know if I'm right in that, but just, I don't know. Let me know. That's what I don't know. Okay, Wolf. Let's talk about Wolf. So his name is Gabriel. His last name is Wolf. I love that name. And I love Gabriel. Gabriel MMCs have been top tier for me. And then we have Brinley. First off, I gotta tell you, so this is romance forward book. If you're looking for that, you got it. There is a really good mix and balance between really good action and it's romance forward. It is insta-lust to your mind to love eventually. Heavy sex in this one. I was itching for an MC book after looking over my stats for 2025 and realizing that I did not read not a one MC romance, and MC romance is like one of my favorite tropes to read. So we needed to rectify that. And what better way to do that than with Wolf? So we've got Wolf and we've got Brinley. Brinley is back in the hometown of Georgia after ending it with her long-term boyfriend. Frankly, she wasn't really in love with him. And I think that she realizes that because she was with him solely because he is the kind of guy that her parents wanted her to be with, and her parents are no longer with us. So it's like, I want to make you happy. And I think that is the way that she has lived her life is I'm going to do things that I feel like other people want me to do. I want to be the good girl that everybody wants me to be. Took etiquette classes, all that kind of stuff, like Georgia Peach kind of girl, right? That's not deep down what Brinley wants. She does have some darker fantasies and some darker needs. And I think she recognizes immediately in Mr. Gabriel Wolf that although that's probably not the avenue that I should go down. Like I'm gonna get myself into some shit. I'm gonna do it anyway because being bad sometimes is just so good. So she moves back home and is immediately immersed in this MC group, this local biker group. Gabriel Wolf is the president of the Hounds of Hell, which is their MC group. And he takes an immediate notice to her and wants her. And this is really not the norm for Wolf at all. Like, he doesn't do a two-timer, right? Like, he's a one and done. Maybe if like you're the only one and I just need to get, I need to scratch an itch, I'll maybe do it twice, but like there is nothing that's gonna happen, right? And I'm gonna make that real clear to all these women, and they know that. But everybody wants them some Gabriel Wolf. So how does she get into his hairs? Because they already like have this eye thing going on, this insta-lust thing going on. She is at her friend's wedding and goes out for a walk and just happens upon something very nefarious going on and witnesses something that she should not have witnessed. And there is a decision that she has to make, and she has to make it very quickly. Either she dies or she becomes Wolf in any way that he wants. Like, you are mine. You do what I say, when I say, how high I say, to a T, or you're dead. What's it gonna be? What's the lesser of two evils? Let's go with the guy that, makes me want to drop my panties. Okay, we're gonna do that. She becomes his and he does what Wolf does, and you start to see Brinley become the woman that I think that she's always wanted to be without the help of any outside influence and with the help of Wolf, who sees her for who she is. He sees through her proper upbringing and really brings out the real Brinley, and that was really fun to watch. This is a fast-paced, like I said, it's an insta-love romance with plenty of action on and off the bike, if you know what I mean. I gave this one a 4 stars, and I gave it a 4 stars for spice. And now we've come full circle to the last book that I read for January, which was our buddy read for the month, and it was Cursed King by Julie Simon. This is the first book in a duet. Actually, it's like part of a series, but the rest of the series follows a different couple. But these are 2 books, so we're going to call it a duet. I do think that all of this could have been in one book, but there you go. It does leave off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and Cursed Queen is already out. Also, I'm going to leave our live down in the comments up here for you as well, so if you're interested in hearing all about what we thought about that, there you go. But I'm going to kind of give you my Cliff's Notes version here. All right, this follows Sebastian and Bellamy. Sebastian is the king of Messalina, and this is a contemporary Beauty and the Beast retelling. There's no paranormal aspects to it. Bellamy was a really fun FMC for me. She seems naive, but she's not. She's smart. She's super sassy. She has a tendency to let her mouth run before her brain can catch up. Her father has early onset dementia. When her mother passed away, he spiraled, and he took them out of the States into Europe, and they've been moving around. But when his brain started to not work correctly and she kind of saw what was going on, she studied them in Messalina, where she could put him into a facility who could help better take care of him, and that's where they are. She is a teacher, but when her father mistakenly in his mind thinks that he's going to MIT to show off something that he created, he ends up infiltrating the palace, which is kind of hard to do because the king and his 3 children have not left that palace in 3 years because the queen of Messalina has passed away, and there's this big seemingly curse around them, and the king is like, there's a curse, we are not leaving the palace, nobody else that I love can die. Bellamy goes into the palace to get her father and ends up somehow becoming the nanny to his 3 children. I have to say, I really enjoyed the children. I think that they had a really good role in this story. I think that they played really well with offsetting Bellamy. She was able to really take on that nanny role, and she's thrust into this role that she's never been into, but circumstances are what they are. Like, the nannies that he's had previously, they haven't worked out, and he just wanted something different, and the staff and his people around him kind of persuaded him to do this, and he didn't want to do it. And then once he sees Bellamy, he definitely doesn't want to do it because for whatever reason she has struck him, and there is this immediate pull to her, and he's never felt that before. Again, another insta-lust to insta-love romance. I did not mean for that to happen, and if you've been around, if you know me at all, I am not an insta girl. I don't really, I'm insta-lust, I understand. That attraction, do you know what I mean? Like, insta-lust to a point, I understand, but insta-love, no. That is insta-lust. Like, you know what I mean? No. Okay. It's nether areas talking. That's not love, honey. No. I'm not a big insta-love person, but if it's done correctly and we have some things to counteract that a little bit, then I'm okay with that. This was very insta-lusty, very insta-lovey, and there are some really, what was like really intriguing to me, what was really fun, is it was a little bit more on the spice level than I was expecting, and there is some minor, light, I'll say, BDSM in it as well. So if you're into that, it does end on a cliffhanger, so please remember that. However, I'm going to be quite honest with you. The cliffhanger is minor, and if I didn't have such a tremendous TBR and other things that I really wanted to read, I may have picked up immediately Cursed Queen, but I have really no interest in reading that. And that is not to say that I didn't enjoy this book. I did. I gave this book a 4 stars. I gave it a 3.5 stars for spice. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. There is, let's see, who is it? I'm blanking on the name. Sebastian's younger brother, Rowan, is getting a book, and I absolutely would read that book. But I feel like I got enough of the story. Like, I think that's where I was coming from, was I think that we could have put this all in one story. I got enough from it, and I read the blurb for Cursed Queen, and honestly, like, I feel like, okay, I kind of understood the assignment. I'm good. I want to mention this because I did enjoy the story. Obviously, I gave it a 4 stars, and I really like Julie Saman's books. Actually, in the live, I spoke about a book of hers that is like one of my all-time favorite books. It is Love to Hate Her. It's a rock star romance, and I just absolutely love that book. I think about it quite often, and I'm always looking to do a rec video where I can like put that in because it's just such a good book. That is what I read for January. I do have my TBR for February already up. I will leave that in the card and where it needs to be. You get it. All right, let me know what your favorite book of January was, what your least favorite book of January was, or just leave me some sort of comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. And I'm going to see you on my next video, which I will be filming right after this. You're going to want to stick around for that one. Okay, I will catch you next time. But until then, happy reading. Bye.